I'm Alex Bell, and this is To the Point. It's been a day full of rain and snow across the region. I mean, take a look at this. We have seen this snow in and out all day, and we're also taking a look at the difference just one day of wet weather can make to our levee system. There is a situation in Natomas. Not only do the people that maintain the barrier say that the system in place needs some serious TLC, but people experiencing homelessness are digging into the levees to make a place to live. And we're going to get to that in just 1 minute. I want to go ahead and get over to Carly because we have a lot of weather activity going on. Carly, how bad is it looking outside right now?
You know, today we saw as much as a ½ inch to 1 inch of rain in the valley. The storm system right now is starting to move its way further south. So valley right now, we saw some clearing this afternoon, a beautiful sunset, but the snow still continues there for the high Sierra spots. And we are seeing a lot of that rain expected to push out for your Friday. Friday morning, we're looking at a lot of that fog starting up, cold temperatures and frost. Now after that, we move into Saturday, and Saturday is going to bring us some rain in the overnight hours into early Sunday morning, continuing with scattered shower chances into Monday. That could even bring some thunderstorm chances as well. And we are looking at more of that snow for the Sierra, bringing us as much as another 1.5 to 2 feet for areas like Donner. And we could see as much as about 4 feet of snow for areas like Lassen. Let's talk about that fog early this morning. We are looking at about 4 miles in visibility along I-5 and 99. Now, some of the spotty areas you can see just right there east of Stockton could see about 1 mile in visibility. Please take it nice and slow tomorrow morning for that commute. And then we'll start to see things at least clear out by the mid-morning hours. Now, the impacts here with the winter storm warning lasting till 4 a.m. We're still looking at additional snowfall pushing through. The big factor here, and dangerous one at that, is the avalanche warning. That is until about Friday at 7 a.m. You're seeing it there from Truckee all the way down along the highest Sierra points, where we're seeing accumulating snow as much as 3 feet and blowing snow. Those wind gusts getting and topping out 65 plus miles per hour. We've even seen a lot of that wind pushing through as much as 100-mile-per-hour gusts at the peaks and ridges. Now, we are looking from Saturday into Sunday at another system. I know CIM's coming in, the California International Marathon. That run time at 7 a.m. is going to impact some of the runners, unfortunately. And the next system after that one could be that following Friday, December 9th. And then pushing out once again. So we're tracking several systems in place here. Now, talking about that snow, we could see additional 36 to 48 inches at Lassen, 18 to 24 at Echo. Donner could see as much as 30 inches in addition to what we've seen today, about 1.5 feet of that snow. Lower foothill spots here, looking at temperatures tomorrow in the low 50s, and that 10-day forecast will bring us those temps low 50s for the weekend and continuing mid to low 50s next week.
And there's a lot of weather to still keep up with. We've got you covered on our free ABC 10 app. We've got neighborhood-specific weather, interactive radars, traffic maps, and a lot more. And speaking of those traffic maps, we have been following the traffic mess today on I-80. Alicia Machado joins us live with the situation. Alicia, how is it looking out there right now?
Yeah, hey, Alex, road closures are in effect in some parts of the Sierra, and chains are also required. We're here at one of the checkpoints. You can see it near exit 150. You can see there's a row of dozens and dozens of trucks and cars that are getting their chains on today. And let's go ahead and follow me the other direction so you can see here. This is where cars are being directed to head off the side of the road if they don't have those chains on just yet. You can see there are some people who are here to help people get those chains on as well. Road closures are in effect. Right now, 50 is closed between Echo Summit and Myers in both directions. I-80 eastbound at exit 146 in Alta was closed for more than 3 hours this afternoon, reopening at 6 o'clock p.m. Now we spoke with a mother who waited at the exit for an hour, hoping to take her kids to the snow for her son's birthday. Take a listen.
We're actually a little in between, excited and not so excited, because we're glad they stopped us because the ground is slippery, but we're excited because there's at least snow right here, so the kids were able to play some.
Now, although I-80 and 20 were closed for some time, those both have reopened. 50, no word yet on when that will be open. But if you are planning on heading to the snow this weekend, we do want to let you know that Caltrans is recommending people come on Friday because conditions are going to get worse this weekend. Right now, you can see on the ground there is some snow that's just turning into slush and melting as we continue to see these conditions here. We'll keep you updated and have more on Lake News Tonight at 11.
All right, Alicia, thank you so much. Again, just take your time. Take your time. We know it's snowing. We know it's raining. Don't be in a rush to get anywhere. All right, let's go ahead and get back to our levees that we showed you earlier in the show. With today's winter storm and more rain on the way, Reclamation District 1000 is very hard at work patrolling our local levees to avoid any flooding. And they are dealing with some serious issues. Unhoused people are digging into the levees to make a place to live. But that's just the beginning of their worries. In tonight's main point, our Devin Truby took a tour with the district crew to get a closer look.
We started our tour with Reclamation District 1000 General Manager Kevin King at the largest pumping plant just off Garden Highway, the first line of defense to push water over the levee and into the Sacramento River.
We rely on this pumping plant for probably 70% of all the water that comes into our basin.
All the water ends up here, the lowest point, and it gets pumped back out. As you can see, the water isn't moving much. Thick with trash, the district will run a machine to remove all the trash before it gets pumped out.
We're not too concerned about the rain that's coming now. It's subsequent storms that could add on to already saturated soil or wet conditions. So the first flush usually isn't that bad. We do anticipate turning on the pumping station probably tomorrow morning. 30 years behind in deferred maintenance, and last October we had a 200-year flood event. And this pumping plant, which is our primary pumping plant, had 50% failure at the peak of that storm.
And it wasn't because it was too much water. It was mechanical failure. They were just 3 inches away from having to dump the water onto Interstate 80 at West El Camino.
I run the failure mode now, where if we have a failure during a pump or a storm event, we can't get parts readily. So in fact, one of these pumps we have on order, it's been 1.5 years now, and we haven't gotten it in yet.
Now to inside, the oldest infrastructure for the district dating back to 1911. Only used in extreme circumstances, it's in dire need of repair.
Start repairing and replacing this pumping plant, and it was previously covered up with duct tape.
130,000 people in the basin rely on these pumping stations to not be flooded.
Not only is it the population, but also 3 major transportation corridors with Interstate 80, I-5, and 99 that run right through the heart of our district, as well as Sacramento International Airport. So huge impact to the economy should we have flooding within the basin.
There is another separate issue. Those living in homeless encampments using pickaxes and shovels to dig into the levees. They took us to this one off Garden Highway in Bridgeport, a 4-foot hole dug into the land side of the levee by residents of this encampment.
Hole or that excavation just gets larger and larger and larger and eats away at the levee.
King says his staff is not equipped with the skill set to engage with the unhoused community. They're there to patrol, but the encampments slow them down. Plus, they have no idea what holes and destruction is under these tarps. All they can do is ask for them to relocate.
And Reclamation District 1000 does have a capital improvement plan. It would involve raising rates on resident, which hasn't happened in decades. So there'd be about a $12 bump, essentially $1 a month, to raise funds for these repairs, Alex.
Devin, did he say some parts were being held together with duct tape?
He did. That's what you saw, that white tarp. That's an absorbent pad. But before that, yes, it was duct tape.
Oh my goodness. Okay, and so what are the next steps in terms of encampments and surveying the damage?
Yeah, the district has doubled their security budget, so once they remove an encampment, it stays clear. They currently spend $350,000 a year on cleanup and security, and they're also trying to get the people living in the levees to relocate. So the district will actually give them paper notices 72 hours before, telling them please leave so they can get it into maintenance, Alex.
All right, Devin, thank you. All right, a lot of news out there today that could affect your budget. So when we come back, the points you should know. All right, student loans, inflation checks, and the threat of a rail strike. No more. A lot of big headlines to get today. So first up today, the Supreme Court said that it will do a full review of the legality of President Biden's federal student loan forgiveness plan. The hearing is set for February and will have full oral arguments. In November, a lower court blocked the order, putting it in legal limbo. And if approved, 43 million Americans could receive some amount of federal student loan forgiveness. And if you are still waiting for your California inflation relief check, don't fret quite yet. The state still has about $4 billion to distribute before January 14th. And everyone that filed their 2020 taxes online should have already gotten their payment via direct deposit. So if you haven't got yours yet, it'll come in the mail in the form of a debit card. So make sure you look out for it. And today, the Senate voted 80-15 to stop a national railroad worker strike. It forces railroad unions to accept a deal brokered by the White House earlier this fall. Now, some of the largest unions initially rejected the deal because they felt it didn't include enough paid sick time for workers. All right, and Sacramento City and County are now sitting together to form a plan to combat homelessness. But what comes next? We'll have more after the break.
It's a historic day.
This is a big step forward.
And we're excited.
I cannot stop smiling.
Happy to join my board colleague.
I want to begin with some thank yous.
I'll start with my thanks as well.
Thank you, Patrick, for that.
I'd like to thank, I want to thank
A lot of thank yous going around this afternoon, and it's a great day, according to city and county officials, because just this afternoon, they had a press conference to, quote, announce agreement on roles, responsibilities for coordinated approach to addressing homelessness, AKA how they plan to work together to address homelessness instead of pointing fingers at each other. And they are coming together mainly because of Measure O, which was just on the ballot back in November, if you remember. And if it passes, which it looks like it might, one of the things that Measure O will do is ban encampments. But there is one key part to the measure before it could ever go into effect. The city and the county must reach a deal to outline services for unhoused people. So today was the first time that both sides shared what that looks like. And I spoke to Sacramento Mayor Steinberg today about what comes next.
We are binding ourselves legally to actually get out into these encampments and then to provide whatever it takes in terms of services, mental health, substance abuse, housing services to the people who are living in conditions that no one should accept.
The county and the city sitting at the same table, sharing for the first time how they plan to address homelessness together. They announced 10 teams made up of several people, including behavioral health and social service workers, would go into 20 encampments per month.
The teams are going to go out in the next week. 2 teams are going to go out. They're going to hit some of the top sites. How quick that impact will be, I don't know. I've learned, again, to be reasonable in expectations because, number one, we want to build up to 10 teams, and that's the commitment in the agreement. Number two, it's going to take time.
Under the agreement, they have 6 months to build up the 10 teams. The second approach is expanding shelter bed capacity. The county will open 200 new shelter beds in the next 12 months and 200 more within 36 months. But after the meeting, I asked Mayor Steinberg, what about people who don't want to go into shelters? Many of the unhoused people we've spoken with here on To the Point through our reporting say they don't feel safe in shelters.
Well, first of all, shelter is not the only option. And I think, frankly, we may overuse the term too much because the city has actually had as much success with long-term leases of motels. Because with long-term leases of motels, people have autonomy. It's not just in a congregate shelter. So you're right, not everybody wants to be in a shelter. We have to offer more than shelter. And that's exactly what what we're doing and what the agreement will allow us to do more.
And I do want to note that nothing is official until both City Council and the Board of Supervisors vote, and they are scheduled to vote on the agreement on December 6th. And Steinberg told me that he would be shocked if it didn't go through. And we've been highlighting organizations in our region working to keep people fed as the cost of living continues to rise, along with the need for food, of course. And now through December 18th, you can donate to places like the Placer County Food Bank as part of our Stand Against Hunger campaign. And this food bank has been at the center of major fire disasters over the past several years. Here is their story tonight.
When you go to our mobile distributions, when you go to a lot of our partner organizations, anyone and everyone is welcome.
A gentleman that would come to the distribution of Pollock Pines. He was kind of the neighborhood, do-it-all kind of gentleman, and he had to evacuate abruptly because of the Caldor fire. He texted us, he said, you know, there's literally 100 of us from Pollock Pines down here. Is there any chance that the food bank could come down here and help out? And so Bayside Church, in assistance with us, was able to pick up water and take it down there.
We do have amazing community partners, vendor partners, that in a moment of disaster, we do come together and they allocate resources to us that we can in turn allocate to our communities in a moment's notice.
The one thing that really impacted me is that when we got a chance to actually see these families, and these are families that helped hand out food during, the pandemic, during COVID. They showed up every day handing out food to their community. And, they needed the help. And they were so grateful. And it was nice to know that they were empowered to know where to look. And I think that most people, as long as they know that they can count on their food bank, should feel empowered that there are resources for them.
And during the mosquito fire this summer, the executive director of the Placer County Food Bank had to evacuate himself. His temporary home was a camper that he chose to set up in the parking lot of Placer Food Bank. He, along with his staff and volunteers, put in overtime to pack boxes and trucks before distributing food to meet the hunger needs of not just the community, but also fellow evacuees. And you can make a donation to Placer County Food Bank and several other food banks in our area through our Stand Against Hunger campaign. It runs right now through December 18th. Again, it is so simple to text this word. It's just texting the word hunger to 916-321-3310. All right, I want to go ahead and get over to Carly, who's going to take us to our Gilmore backyard. Carly, it has been freezing outside.
It is so chilly. We're actually about almost 10 degrees below the average for this time of year, as we've been seeing those very chilly temperatures today. Now, we're seeing what's new here is that morning fog. What's next is more rain and more snow back into the forecast Saturday night into Sunday, as well as even Monday scattered snow showers. Now, we're looking at that dense fog advisory up and down there, as you can see, all the way up into Northern California to the Central Valley. We're looking at that tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Winter storm warning in effect until about midnight, and the avalanche warning until 7 a.m. because we're still looking at strong wind gusts. Now, as you take a look here, you're going to see in the overnight hours, we're looking at temperatures dropping near freezing point to the early morning hours. Temperatures from those mid-30s into those near freezing point around 7 a.m. We will see temperatures right around those mid-40s as we get closer to 9 a.m. Now, let's take a look at the 10-day forecast. For the weekend, just expect there to be Saturday night into Sunday, some showers, with showers lingering Monday, even thunderstorm chances. Then we get a little bit of a clearing here Tuesday to Thursday, and then the following weekend, we may have a chance again on Friday to see some more rain. We'll be right back.
Today, To the Point's Becca Habegger and producer Gilbert Cordova were out on assignment in San Francisco. And since it was raining, we asked them to document their trip to the Bay. And here's the postcard they sent back.
We're driving westbound on I-80 right now. We are over the Yolo Causeway as we record this. It's around 11:30 on Thursday morning. You can see from the camera we've mounted on our dash that it's pretty poor driving conditions right now. I feel like I'm in a car wash with the water and spray kicking up all around us. We'll see how the conditions deteriorate or progress as we head further west. So here we are in Fairfield, about half an hour after hitting the road in Sacramento, heading westbound on 80. The conditions aren't a whole lot better. You can see just as we get into traffic how much spray gets kicked up by the tires. You can see like in tight packs of traffic, it's really, the visibility is really degraded. We're seeing some ponding on the roadway too as pools of water and puddles gather on the roadway and on the shoulder, and of course that's dangerous because that's when you get into hydroplaning. If you hit that, you can lose control of your car, and that's where we see some crashes during weather like this. But I'm happy to report we did not personally witness any crashes, and as my U.S. Navy veteran grandfather used to say, red at night, sailor's delight. And we surely got a red sunset on our drive back from San Francisco.
How beautiful is that? All right, thank you so much for joining us tonight. The roads are treacherous out there, so please take care driving. A little bit of water falls from the sky and suddenly people just forget how to drive, apparently. So there is a lot of rain that we've seen around our area today. So we've had about a half an inch to an inch of rain across Northern California, but some foothill spots saw over an inch. I'm no forecaster, but that's a lot of rain in about 24 hours or so. All right, make sure that you reach out to us if you have anything you want the team to look into. Jeopardy's up next. Have a great night. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.